New video. My name is EDT and today we are going to be learning how to make a program in Python. So this is the first episode of my new series which is how to code in Python. So this is just a basic level. We are going to get more advanced as we move on. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. So before you can even start coding in Python, first you need to download it. So from where can you download it? And I'm going to be telling you that right now. So there's a website which I'll share in the description, and which is www.python.org/downloads. You can go here and then click on download Python and the version, and it can be updated also by now. I don't know about it, but for now I'm using in this version only. So after you download it, you'll get a prompt on here. I'll just move my camera. You'll get a prompt here of downloads, and then you can start the steps. So that's how you download Python if you want to. But I've already downloaded it. If you type in IDLE, you can see here I have downloaded it already, so I don't need to. There's one more thing you need to know in Python before you can get started. So this is a table I made in Word for you guys. So in Python there are different symbols which we are using for mathematics. So suppose if you want to do addition in real life, the symbol will be just normal one horizontal line and one vertical line like a cross, and in Python it's also the same. The minus sign is also same, so if you want to do subtraction, you can also just put the minus sign. But if you want to do multiplication, which I put here, then you will have to put an asterisk, right? So how do you put an asterisk in Windows? You hit Shift and then you can put, and you can click on 8 on your number row on top of the letters, and then you can get an asterisk. Next is division. If you want to do some division in Python, and you will have to use a forward slash. You can't use anything else. You can't use a division sign also, because that is not supported. You have to use a forward slash, not a backslash. Remember that. This is a backslash and this is a forward slash. And if you don't want a decimal, so suppose when you're dividing in suppose you're dividing in let's say 3 divided by 2, so your answer won't be 1, it will be 1.5, because you are having a decimal point. But if you're going to do this symbol instead of this one, so which is 2 forward slashes, you will be getting 1, so the decimal part will just be removed. And if you want the remainder of a division, so suppose this example only I'll take. So if you instead of putting this, I put the percentage symbol, your answer will be 1, because 3 divided by 2, if you go for this one, which is 2 forward slashes, your answer will be 1. And then so 2 ones are 2, so then 3 minus 2 will be 1. So that's how the math works. So here 2 into 1 will be 2, and then 3 minus 2 will be 1. So if you want the remainder of a division, and so if you take a percentage, so it will be 1. So if suppose if I take 4 percentage 2, which is 4 modulus 2, we actually call it. This is not called a percentage symbol, it's called modulus. Your answer will be 0, because there's no remainder. But if you take 5 modulus 2, you will get 1 again. So that's how it works. So now after all this, we can finally start coding in Python. So in this episode, I'll just be telling you a few Python symbols and Python prompts which you can give. And then I have prepared, just leave this, I have prepared a program list for us to follow. So we can do 1 or 2 programs from this part. So basic programs to get started. We'll start today we'll be doing the second and third program. I'll teach you how to do these 2. Then I'll get on to then we'll end the video for today, and then I'll do the rest. Like, we have a lot to cover here. So if you see, there are 11 things which we can cover. So right now we are just going to do basic programs to get started for like 5 episodes. Then, and after that we are done. Not all of them. I'm going to give some as like projects and all. So if you want, you can do that. After that we're going to get into if else, and then so on. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first few prompts which I'm going to tell you, but before I tell you that, we have to open Python. So open IDLE, full screen it. So here if you start typing, you might think, oh, it's printing and all. No, you shouldn't type the programs here. This is just this is actually an interpreter, which means it will run the program one line at a time. But we don't want that. We want to code an entire program, then we want to run it line by line. So we have to go on file and then click on new file if you don't want to. If you already have a lot of programs like me, it's not here, but I do have some programs. I think so it's in a different computer, but I have a lot of programs. So in that, suppose then you have to open this. I'll be saving all my files here for now. So, but right now we are creating a new file. So click on new file. So I'm not going to be telling you that much today. I'm just going to be telling you a few like print and inputs. That's it. And that will also allow us. Let's see if it will allow us to do the first 2 programs. Read length and breadth of a rectangle and display the area. Yes, we will be able to do that. And read 2 numbers and display the sum of the same. Yes, we will be able to do both of that. So it will be super easy. And then I'll also be giving one of them for homework or like a project which you can submit it to me. I'll tell you that later. So let's go here. I'll close that. Let's full screen it. So first things first, how do we put an input? So first, we need a variable. What is a variable? A variable is basically a box in which you can put things. So suppose if I just write it input, okay, it should be coming there. I'll just write I equals to. This is how you define a variable. So now whatever code I type after that will be stored as the letter I. This is basically a new code which I've assigned. So this is a value. So it's like algebra in math. Letters have values. So I'll be writing it as number 1. And so this will be our input. So we'll put our input value into this. Now how do we write an input value? So there's one tool which is called, there's a command which you can just type input and then you have to close it off with brackets. These curved brackets are used for this, and I think so my laptop is about to run out of charge, so I'll put it in. And so this is how you write an input. And then in this, if you put double quotes, you have now defined a string. A string is a list of characters which is basically a text. So nothing can be. So suppose if I put n1, you might think that now the variable's value will be coming here. No, it will be a string. So now suppose I will type enter the length. and I'll change this to length actually, L, and then yeah. So now if I save it, to save it you have to go to File, Save, and then you can save it anywhere. So I have gotten in a folder specifically for this, so I'll be writing area calculator. You can name it whatever you want, just for your reference. I'll click on save. So now how do we run our program? So suppose if I put this, how do I run it? I'll click on run and then click on run module, or if you want you can click on F5. If F5 doesn't work, click on function F5, then it should work. So now if you see, enter the length, whatever I've typed here, so this is basically a placeholder, so it will tell the user yes you have to put this in. And so I'll go here, and now if you see I can type whatever value I want. So it's basically taking an input. But hold on, and if I run the program using F5 and then I say suppose some letters, not or numbers, so then our program will crash because you can't divide letters, multiply letters, because if you know the formula for the area of a rectangle is length into breadth. So first of all, in Python we can't use this, as you know, so I'll change it into this, and then I'll also put a variable, and then in that variable I'll put an input to say enter the breadth. So now we can't do this because there is no variable assigned as length and breadth. The variables assigned are L, which is for our length, and B, which is for our breadth. So we want to display this formula, which is L into B. But how do we do that? We have the values already which the person wants. So yeah. So now, but suppose if the person gives hi into welcome, how will that work? We can't. So if we want to change it into an integer, which is basically a number, what we should do is we should do int outside of input. So we'll type int brackets, and then inside the brackets we'll put input, whatever, and then we can type this. So now whatever input comes, it will become an integer. What is an integer? An integer is a number. So integer can't be a text, it has to be a number. So now if the person types something in like a text, it can't generate an error, and that's what integer will do. So I put it here also. So now we shouldn't have any errors at all. But no, wait, hold on a second. How will we display the formula? It's not like, so I'll make another variable which is I'll call it area, area equals to L into B. So now area, the variable area equals to L into B. So now I'll just save it by doing Ctrl S, and then I'll run it using F5. So now suppose if I give 200, the area will be saved into 200 into 200. Now what is the total of 200 into 200? We don't know that because we can't see it. So for situations like this where we want to display something, we use print. Print helps us display anything we want. So if I type anything here, it should display it, but it won't. because there's no variable called this. So if you want to display something and we don't want to make sure that Python recognizes that as just normal text, not as a variable or anything else, we have to put it inside double quotes. So now if I do function F5, we can save it, and now if I do 1 2 3 this doesn't matter. Now we'll get it F W G J and H blah 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 printed. So this is how you can print things in Python. So now so suppose if I want to multiply two numbers, so 2, if you do it as a string, it won't be multiplied because that is Python recognizes this as a text, not a number. So if you want to do anything with multiplication, anything with math where you need a number, you should always just write it without double quotes. And then suppose if I want to do 2 into, remember multiplication we write an asterisk, 2 into 2. So now if you see, it won't print 2 into 2, it will print 4. Next, if I put a variable in, which is, I'll just put area, actually I'll put L. We will click OK. We will be getting 1 because the value of L, I typed it as 1, the variable L has saved it, and then now it's printing in L, which is 1. So that is how we use variables in complex programs. So now suppose if I want to write the area is and then something, how will I do that? So first we have to type a string, which is the area is. Because this is static, if this never changes, we can write this in a string. But hold on, how can I add something after that? So for that we put a comma, which is basically meaning after this do this. So after this is I want it to be area, which is L into B. And we can also do it another way, because print functions can do math as we saw before. You can just do L into B here. So we don't even need this variable. But if you put it in a variable, it will be looking neater. So we'll put it like that. And now I'll do function F5. So 2 into 2, the area is 4. But hold on a second, the area is not 4. It's 4 or unit square. So whatever unit it is, it will be square. So suppose after this I want to put something, again put a comma and then again start. I'll put unit in it and then we'll type in square. So now if I run it, 2, the area is 4 unit square. Simple. So this is how you can use print functions in Python, and this is how you can use integer integer function. A function is basically a command which is given. We can soon we are going to be making our own functions. So the integer function has just been compacted to int so that it's easier for us to type it and it's easy for us to understand. And then after that we have also learned about input function, which just takes the input from the user. We have learned about variables in Python, and we have also learned about symbols in Python. These are some symbols which we are learning right now. Later we are going to be learning a lot more. So stay tuned. And yeah, so this is our first program. So I'll close this one and we'll move on to our second one, and which is read two numbers and display the sum of the same. So we have to read two numbers from the user and then we have to display the sum of that. So how do we do that? First I'll create a new Python. So you know how we did file plus new file. So I just did the shortcut key, which is Control N or Command N in Mac. So after doing that, what we can do for two numbers, so I'll name my first variable num1, which is the number 1, and then I'll type in integer bracket input bracket, enter the first number colon, so that the user knows where to enter. Okay, we'll leave the colon. We are closing the string because we have to keep it in double quotes. If we type it continuously and if we close it, it won't work. We have to close it, close the input function, close the integer function. So now this is a proper line of code. There is no error in it. Next we just do the same for the second number. So num2 integer input and enter the second number, close it. So now this is done. Now if we look back at the question, read two numbers and display the sum of the same. So we have to read these two numbers. So we have already done that. Now we have to display the sum. We'll go back to our chart. In real life, addition is this. So now in Python it will be this. So we have to use a normal plus sign. So we'll be going back to Python. I'll type in sum. Okay, just type s equals to number 1 plus number 2. Just leave it. Now the sum of these two numbers which the user will enter is s. So basically what you are saying, n1, so suppose if this is number and this is w. So now we are basically saying, if you want to add a comment, which is a normal line of code which you can see, I'll show you that later. Just put a hashtag. I'll explain this in the next episode. Or so n plus w equals to s. This is basically what we are trying to say. But what I'm doing is n1 plus n2, so that it's more readable and people will understand it better. N2, n1. It's not n into 1 plus n into 2 equals to s. It's not that. And then now we have to do print, which will be printing us. You don't need to look at these things. These we'll learn next class, not next episode or class, whatever you want to say. We will be learning it in the future because it's kind of complicated. And we'll be typing in quotes. Remember, the sum is, put this, we put a comma, which means we are putting in a space so that we can differentiate between two data types. So variable is a different data type, string is a different data type, integer are different data types. And then we'll put in s, and then we'll close it. So now if I save it as, since this is an adder, if you think about it properly, I'll type in this adder. I'll save it. A function f5. The first number will be, suppose 100 plus 200 equals to 300. So now we have also done the second question. And this is very simple. This is the first stage only, so you don't have to go super complicated. Like later we're going to be building games, you're going to be building web pages and all. So stay tuned. Like, I think so I have a web page. No, it's on a different computer. So I'll show you that how to do that and all. Well, so stay tuned. So before you leave, I just want to tell you, subscribe to my channel and like the video. It really helps me a lot, and I won't be able to make videos like this unless you do that. So subscribe, and I'll be giving you a project for today, and I'll give you a submission link for it. So I'll tell you what will be the project. This will be a project. Write a program to convert minutes into hours. So as we know, minutes is 1 minute equals to 1 by 60 hours, which means in 1 divided by 60 hours. So, and no, 1 divided by yeah, you can say 1 by 60 hours. Okay, so 1 minute is 1 by 60 hour. So you can do that. So all you have to do is minutes. So they make a variable named m and then h minute. You don't need to make an like a variable named h. So minutes input by the user would be minutes, and then hours you can make it so that the user so hours you can put minutes divided by 60. So how do we write a divided sign? Go here, go to our table, division, but if you want no decimal division, here. If you want the remainder, here. Simple. So what you can do is no decimal division for the number of hours, and then the remaining number of minutes can be in remainder, which is modulus. So that's your project. I'll be sharing this entire PDF down in the pinned not in the pinned comment. Okay, make me a deal. If you gave me 5 correct programs for the 15th question, I'll be sharing the PDF. Is that okay for everyone? Hopefully that will be okay. So that's the deal. If you give me 5 correct submissions of this project, I'll be sharing this entire PDF. So we have 11 chapters. So this entire 11 chapters will be given to you for free. Okay, but I only need one thing, which is okay, 2 things actually. I need 5 submissions for this, and I need at least 3 subscribers and 4 likes. Okay, not 4 likes, at least 10 likes. Okay, 10 likes is the goal, and 2 subscribers from this video, new subscribers. If you unsubscribe and subscribe again, that won't do anything. I need 2 new subscribers from this video. So that's the deal, and remember 5 new submissions also. And thanks for watching, and before you leave, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.